Okay, I don't see Moria. Are you here, Moria? No. Okay. Well, that's okay. Then we will get started. So let me first welcome you all. It's been a long time since we last met. I think our last meeting was the end of September last year. So we had a big gap in between, but glad to have you all back for this upcoming session. So let me, we have a lot of newcomers joining today. So I will just give a quick and brief introduction of who we are and what we do and why we are here all together today. So in fact, this is the 11th meeting of the KMGN research community. So KMGN is a KM Global Network. And 2 years back with Moria Levy, we decided this, we designed this subgroup of the KMGN, which has for purpose to bring together people interested in oops, I'm just trying to, okay, here we go. People interested in research, but particularly in the field of knowledge management. So not only academic research, but also research which is more practical and hands-on type of research. So we try to mix different type of speakers. Some of them are a bit more academic, some of them are a bit more practitioner, and to share with you all, I mean, some ongoing research. It doesn't have to be a research which has been published, so it can be a work in progress just to get feedback and get the community to interact and on the topic. So if you have not already done yet, we have a WhatsApp group, and I will share it a bit later on once I close this presentation. The link in the chat, or you can scan the QR code.
I'll share it. I'll share it in a minute.
Okay, Moria. Hey, welcome. Sorry, we were missing you.
No, I'm here. I'm too quiet.
Okay, you're hiding, Moria. So feel free to join. Again, we don't bombard you with a lot of stuff. We just send you some reminder or updates from time to time, but it's a good way to stay connected with each other's.
Vincent, if I may add here.
Sure, please.
Two things. First of all, we have already, please listen, 262 members in this research community. That's wow. Second thing, it's very important that we don't use it only for announcements, but people, if you're working on research and you are looking for some idea, for some assistance, for someone to work with you on the research, whether academic or non-academic, we have here a great group of people that maybe are sharing the same interest or the same topic just now. So ask for help, suggest ideas, share some of your resources that seem interesting for the community at all, and of course are not forbidden to in copyright terms. This WhatsApp group is also for announcements, but first of all, we want people to help one another wherever possible.
Great. Thank you, Moria, for clarifying a bit the objective of this community. Great. So these were our past speakers that we had over the past 2 years. Now, if you missed or if you want to rewatch some of them, we have a YouTube channel, so you can go through on YouTube and look for KMGN Research Community. And so all the past recordings of all the speakers are available, so you can watch them and listen to their presentations. So we have scheduled all the upcoming speakers for this year. So the next speaker will be on May 14th, which is Constantin Bartinu from Bucharest, who will be presenting. I don't know if you're here with us today, Constantin. I don't see all the visuals, but maybe not. So and he will talk to us about capitalizing on online knowledge networks. So one of the research also he has been working on and has been published. And I think he got an award also for this research. In September, then we will have Dr. Susan Durst. We'll talk about inclusive knowledge management. The timing will be slightly different from this talk. It will be 1 hour later. And then the last speaker of the year will be Dr. Bebeka, that you may have also, that you may know, who is wearing different hats. And she's wearing so many hats that, in fact, she didn't want me to mention only one affiliation. So we left it open, but you may have came across some of her posts or some of the activities she's doing. And she will talk about some of the work she's doing in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. So we will send you anyway. So if you're part of the list, we will send you some invitations or some reminders. Don't worry about this. Now, today I'm very delighted and very honored to have Professor Patrick Cohendet to be with us. So I've known Patrick for more than 10 years now, and I really admire his work. So he's a full professor at the schools at the Department of International Affairs at HEC Montreal in Canada. And so we got the opportunity to collaborate on many occasions on some research projects with France, with the UGA, the Grenoble-Alpes University. And also Patrick is the co-director of Mosaic. So Mosaic is a creativity and innovation hub. And I think, Patrick, you can elaborate a little bit more about this. But so that's, I don't know if, again, you will correct me, is it a kind of a center of excellence of HEC Montreal that focus on creativity and innovation? And among the activities that they organize, I had the great chance and opportunity to attend one of their summer school of management of creativity. So that's currently the 17th edition. So I was part of the 5th edition in 2013. And I would say it was really a pivotal moment in my career, really a life-changing event. I mean, I didn't spend the full 2 weeks at the time, but just 1 week in Montreal, and really being immersed with so many creative people, so many creative, visiting creative organizations, companies, and really that's really changed my life. And when I came back to Bangkok, we decided to create a big event, Creative Bangkok. And then out of this Creative Bangkok, there's other creativity schools that were created in, for instance, in Australia with Arthur Shelley and many other things. So if you have the opportunity, I mean, that's probably the best ever event I have attended. I don't want to call it a conference because it's not a conference. It's really a summer school. And I think, Patrick, you can add a little bit to it later on. But have a look. And if you are in the area, or if you have something to attend, this will probably be also a very important moment in your life. Now, today, we invited Patrick to share with us a paper he recently co-authored with some colleagues. And I will just leave it from here and stop sharing, and maybe let you, Patrick, maybe add a little bit based on what I said, or correct whatever I may have said, which is wrong. And I mean, among the things I forgot to mention is that Patrick is a well-renowned researcher. He has been cited as one of the top researchers at HEC Montreal with more than 14,000 citations. So I'm sure you have came across, if you're doing research, serious research in knowledge management, I'm sure you have came across some of the work published by Patrick. And Patrick, you are also the editor-in-chief of which journal I forgot, And
Management international. I no more.
Okay, okay.
I was.
Great. So I will leave the floor to you. There is so many good things we could say about Patrick, and he's one of the most humble men I've also met. So Patrick, the floor is all yours, and we are all looking forward to listen from you.
Oh my God. Thanks so much for your nice words, Vincent. I like to stay humble and say just thank you. Maybe just to say what we're trying to do in Montreal, we have tried to take benefit or a lot of creative activities in Montreal. You heard Cirque du Soleil, you know, Ubisoft, but also a lot of things going on in AI recently. And from this fantastic background, we try to work with industrialists, academics, and students to work on creativity, on innovation. And of course, what we try to do is really to have platform of exchange. For instance, Vincent mentioned the summer school is a kind of moving open lab for 2 weeks. We spend together 2 weeks. But at the end of the day, you have a community that try to change the world. So we really proud of that. For instance, we try to co-publish in the best reviews with industrialists as academics. So this is, and we have succeeded in many domains. So this is what we try to do. So thanks so much. And also I'm very honored to speak to the KM Global Network. It's really an honor. I really admire what you're doing all over the world. And I would try to convince my colleagues in HEC Montreal to join. So thank you so much. So
thank you, and thank you for waking up so early. Also, it's 7 in the morning in Montreal. So thank you for
just a joke. But my colleagues say no, 7 o'clock in the morning, Patrick. We love you, but not today. We stay in bed anyway. They have been shoveling the snow for. Okay, so in agreement with Vincent, Vincent would put the slides, and
yes,
I would suggest next because we have technical issues. If not,
yeah, just give me 1 second because I'm experiencing also technical issues, but I should be done in a second. Here we go. Let me share my screen, and I'll be with you in a second. Here we go. Okay. Go full screen. Here we go, Patrick.
Okay. So the presentation would be on a recent article, which is published in Industrial and Corporate Change. And the aim is really to look at a knowledge-based approach of the firm through an idea-driven perspective. In a nutshell, what I try to do is we have built through years, academics have built a very important series of approaches of series of firm, mostly based on knowledge. And what I would like to insist on is, of course, it's very important to build on knowledge and to manage knowledge, but we need to add something, which is the intention of action to put knowledge in action. And that's the reason why the notion of ideas is today emerging as a very big notion in the management of knowledge. So this is my intention, if I could say, through this presentation. Next. Next, please, Vincent. So the question is, why do we need a theory of the firm? This is a very old question from a very pioneer article by Coase in 1937. And he said firms in the economy exist to economize on the cost of coordinating economic activity. And the beautiful sentence is, they are islands of conscious power in an ocean of unconscious cooperation. And the reason why we need a theory of the firm is, I think, brilliantly explained by Michael Porter. and he said, well, we need a theory of the firm in economics, in management, because we need a theory to explain, predict, orient the structure and the behavior of the firm. If not, we are not able to understand management in our practices. And a lot of people said, well, if you want to build a theory of the firm, there are many issues. What is the rationale? Why we need a firm? What is the boundary of the firm? What is the international organization of the firm? And some other issues, the growth, the role of entrepreneur, and the dominant model of innovation behind the scenes. We would concentrate maybe on the first one. So these are the reasons we need a theory of the firm. And for years, let's say up to the 80s, were built the classical theory of the firm. And this classical theories view the firm as a processor of information. La raison d'être of firms for this economics, classical economics, is in fact just to correct market failures when information processing is too costly. And they are implemented a lot of theories, very well-known theories, theory of teams, agency theories, transaction cost theories, to explain that when we have in the environment and information issues, firm exists to correct these issues. Just to give you some example, in theory of the firms, Alkan and Desmet said, well, we could have friends doing a team and trying to do a firm. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because we cannot precisely isolate who is responsible of the activity and reward him in a group of friends. We need a monitor. We need a manager. And so this theory emphasized the huge role of manager with a power to hire, to fire, to allocate works. And I think this article in 72 was a building article for, let's say, managing issues as a firm. Agency theories, they said, well, employees, they could cheat. So you should find the solution, which is incentive mechanism to avoid them to cheat, including managers could cheat with the shareholders. And so there was a lot of building about the shareholder theory of the firm. And transaction cost theories, they said, Williamson said, there are a lot of thread of opportunism, and to correct it, we need transaction-specific investment and incentive to correct the opportunism in transaction cost theories. So in these visions, the firms is seen as an institutional mechanism that correct information bias in the environment. And of course, the boundary of the firm is closed. The organization of the firm is very hierarchical. The role of shareholders is keys and so on. Next. Then came the firms as a process of knowledge. Let's say most of the theories emerged in the 80s, 90s, early 2000. And this series has said, well, the firm is not only dealing and processing information. A firm is built on competencies to be able to innovate, to create resources, not only to allocate resources. I like this beautiful sentence from Nonaka and Takeuchi in 1955. And they say, you know, when organizations innovate, they do not simply process information from outside in to solve existing problems. They create new knowledge and information from the inside out in order to redefine both problems, solutions, and recreate the environment. Beautiful sentence explaining that we need competencies and building of knowledge to understand the dynamics of the firm. Next. And so there are many approaches of the theory of the firm as a process of knowledge. The resource-based theories, they say what we need is to build the firm on resources which are very specific, like, for instance, patent, like skills, and so on. This makes the firm. the theory, evolutionary theory of the firm, Nelson and Winter, they say, no, well, we need also to take into account the collective formation of routines. A firm is a collection of routines, well prepared and well computed. The competence-based theory of the firm said, yes, the competences are important, but among the competencies, there are what we call core competencies, which are the main sources of competitiveness. And then the dynamic capabilities theory say that dynamic capabilities are the firm ability to integrate, build, and reconfigure internal competencies to address changing environments. And so all these approaches are clearly built on the notion of building competencies as what is very specific to the theory of the firm. And of course, the firm is has a boundary which is open to knowledge sharing with trust partners. But the organization of the firm stay really hierarchical. So most of these approaches, again, have been the dominant approaches of the firms, let's say, up to the beginning of the century. Next. Please don't hesitate stopping me or asking me a question. Of course, there would be a question and answer at the end, but I think it's important if you'd like to raise any question, I would be delighted. Now, in the recent years, a lot of extremely important scholars, in fact, the scholars that have implemented the knowledge-based theory of the firm, these scholars, they say there is a problem. There is a problem because we're facing so many limitations, over static approach. We have environmental problem, externalities. We have AI, which is coming. We need to reconstruct the theory of the firm from the perspective of social networks, innovation ecosystem, open innovation, as Cantwell expresses. Next. And a very, very interesting article has been recently published, 2020, by those people, Alvarez, Zender, Barney. They are the one who built the knowledge-based theory of the firm. And they say it doesn't work anymore. We have to start from not from the scratch, but we have to really, really reconsider the theory of the firm. Why? Because you have acceleration of industrial, social, technological, environmental changes, including, of course, the rise of artificial intelligence. You have environmental crisis, emergence of different forms of co-opetition, open innovation, increasing role of stakeholders in companies. And the problem of the increasing role of stakeholders is key for these people. And so we have to rethink the foundation of the knowledge-based approaches of the firm. And so what they add, and I think this is very important, they said we need to explicitly introduce goals and intention of actions that emphasize the ability of the firm to generate, nurture, select, and implement innovative solutions. We need to equip knowledge. Of course, we are built on the theory of knowledge, but we need to equip knowledge with this key intention of actions, and the key intention of actions is ideas. So what they suggest is to add to the existing theory of the firm. What we add is the notion of intention of action and ideas. And this is the reason why we have tried with my colleagues to work on these key ideas about ideas and to try to introduce and and to add this vision of ideas in the existing knowledge theory of the firm. Next. So let me, before going to this notion of ideas, let me just suggests that this notion of ideas, in fact, is already clearly present in many, many visions of the firm. Look at, for instance, this very, very well-known model of open innovation by Chesbrough in 2003, a model of innovation which is now the key model of innovation for practitioners, academics, policymakers, and so on. When you look at this model, it's a model which is purely a model based on ideas, not only knowledge, ideas. And this intended ideas is clearly marked when you mix internal ideas and external ideas in the sensing phase. Then in the sizing phase, you work with ideas. If your ideas, which is internal, is not interesting, sell it to the outside. If the ideas could be, an idea could be practiced with others, do a coupled open innovation, like for instance, Apple with the apps and so on, you do a couple with ideas. And of course, you can target the current market. So when you just look at the model of open innovation, it's a model of innovation which is purely built on ideas. Next. And then, but last but not the least, 2 Nobel Prizes. To me, Helmut Phelps is maybe well the key economist in the world today, and they said, if we look, we can see the distinctive stuff that the modern economy are made of. It is ideas, and he insisted a lot on democratization of ideas. Same for Paul Romer, Nobel Prize recently. Same emphasis on the notion of ideas. So the question is, what is exactly an idea? How we can implement the notion of ideas in economics and management theory, in the management of knowledge. And what I like to insist on, there are a lot of recent articles on ideas. One is Peri Manucci, which is remarkable and so on. But to illustrate what is an idea, I like this example. It's a well-known example, and it shows something. Idea is not just a spark, just you know, the light bulb moment. Ideas is a process, and I do insist on this result. Idea is really should be seen on the process, and I take the case of penicillin of Fleming. If I take the case of penicillin of Fleming, the history is well known. It's been referred by many articles. Fleming was a very brilliant doctor trying to find antiseptic because he went to the First War, see something like 5 million people dead because of septicemia. And he said, I have to find a solution. And by chance, he went once in holidays, coming back to home in his kitchen. In the kitchen, he saw, unfortunately, he did not clean the plates. All the plates were full of bacteria, moist and so on. But one plate was not infected. One plate was not infected. And he said, oh my God, what is in there? What has protected the pollution? And so he worked on that. He tried to isolate the molecule, did not find clearly the molecule, but published a fantastic article in 2029 saying, I think there is a solution in this plate that could change the world to avoid millions of people dying from septicemia. And his colleagues say, well, interesting article. He said, it's not an interesting article. There is something that would change the world. No one was, so this was his ideas at the beginning, the spark of the ideas. But then to bring it to solution and markets is a long process. He spent 10 years of his life knocking at the door. He was from Oxford, of his professors in Oxford, saying, please help me. And so what he did, he knocked at the door saying, we have to characterize the molecule. We have to maybe see if it could be produced. We have to see how it, and then step by step during 10 years, these communities of people working in pathology, biology, chemist, antiseptic agent, fermentation, succeeded in building what we call the code book of the penicillin, and bring all the equipment of knowledge on the idea of Fleming. And finally, in 41, the codebook was finished, and the landing phase was done in Prairie Lab in the US. And this penicillin was known as saved something like 11 million lives in World War II. And of course, the penicillin is supposed to be the most important invention in the 20th century. Interesting things. First, Fleming received the Nobel Prize with Fleuret and Chen, so it's a collective Nobel Prize. And second, the patent was taken after the story in 48. All the main innovation in the world in 20th century was done without a patent. The patent was done at the end. What is important is a construction of ideas from the spark, from then the social construction moment, which is key, bringing communities together, and the landing phase, which is a phase of commercialization and production. So again, idea is a next. Idea is a process. Of course, in these processes, you have a lot of knowledge. It's built of knowledge with codified knowledge and, of course, new practices, so tacit knowledge. But you have something which is important, is the intention of action, which is expressed in the manifesto, and the structure of the networks of adherence. For instance, Fleming succeeded to do is to bring the network of adherence to the idea. So here you have in knowledge management something which is extremely important, the building of an intention of action and the equipment of knowledge that equip this action. Next. So again, if we come back, the dynamics of ideas is a three-phase. First, the spark. You have a lot of creative techniques, dissociation, CK theory, trees, brainstorm, design thinking. In the spark, the main actors are mostly individuals. And of course, the aim is to express the intention of actions, the manifesto. Then the phase of social construction is a phase of sense-making, sharing the ideas, finding allies. The main actors as knowing communities. This is really the moment of knowledge management, which is key in this, because we have to write the book and equip the idea with sufficient knowledge. And then, of course, the landing phase with where the main actors are now the organization. So this three phases are important, which means all the actors should be trying to co-work together. If it doesn't work, the idea could be just abandoned. Next. Some extra remark. In recent article, you can see that many firms are born from an idea. There is from Page a very interesting article about Google, how we started with an idea, he said. We try to do the best with data mining, and then we develop a lot of activities on that. Social construction is, of course, is important. And of course, collective collective value is important. And again, it's managerial theory of the firm. You manage knowledge, but you manage knowledge trying to include not only the role of shareholders, but also to take into account the increased roles of stakeholders. Thanks. Next. Now, in a firm, in the firm, what's going on. And in a firm, I had the chance with my colleague Laurent Simon to have once a dinner with Yanis Mala, which was at this time the former CEO of Ubisoft Montreal. And he said, you know what, Patrick, our organization is not based only on knowledge. Our organization is based on ideas. And he tries to explain. And you would see what we keep, he wrote all these figures on the napkin, and we have still kept the napkin because it looks so fantastic. Anyway, so first, he said, first, we get rid of the classical stage gate model. Oh, not everything, but we get rid of part of it. The classical stage gate model said on the left side, you have idea generation, you have a stock of ideas, and you choose the best one. And then you have the next phases, build cases, development, testing, launch, and so on. He said, everything's okay, but the first one, the first hypothesis. Idea generation, we suppose that we have a box of a lot of ideas, and we try to find the best one in the box. And then we decide the stage gate. Wrong. Many, many times in Ubisoft, first, we have not chosen the good ideas, because ideas is not fixed in a moment of time. Ideas evolve. And so sometimes we have tried to choose an idea that was in fact not the good one, and the competitors got it, and we were defeated. Second, sometimes we choose wrong ideas, but it's too late to change. So we launch a stage gate process with an idea which we cannot really modify. So we have decided in Ubisoft to change this vision of stage gates model. And the vision is next. And the vision, and so this is what he wrote on the piece of paper. And he said, we have, in fact, to manage two parallel models. First, in the bottom, a process of ideation. Our teams, they try to have ideas, to develop the ideas. And of course, when the ideas is mature, we can put them in a process of innovation. On the top is a process of innovation by itself. And the process of innovation by itself, when ideas is selected this time, we do the final steps of the stage gates, that's fine. And we try to go to the market. And so we manage in parallel these two processes, one a process of ideation, one a process of innovation. And to manage the process, of course, we need a knowledge management that bridge the two funnel together. And to bring the two funnel together, we need a lot of communities. We have communities of game designers. We have communities of sound players. We have community of writers of novels and so on. We have a lot of community of AI. We have a lot of communities, and these communities as one foot, in the ideation process and 1 foot in the innovation process. They have meetings together, they have meeting together and so on. So the notion of communities is key to glue, to give sense to the firm and to hold the two processes, parallel processes together. We need, of course, boundary spanners, knowledge brokers, boundary object, knowledge platform, modularity. And we refer it to the underground, middle ground, and upper ground in the firm. Next. And so next one, maybe. Yeah. In the process of innovation, the main mechanism is go, no go, go or no go. In the process of ideation is not go, no go. It's why not? Next. In, of course, process of innovation, we take care of the performance of employees. In the process of ideation, we take reputation, connection, and trust as key meaning. And of course, in one side, you need patents, and the other side, you need Creative Commons. The firms is organized, and even the promotion of the firms, for instance, take care at the same time of the performance and the reputation effect of the firm. So this is, I think, one company, there are many, but one company that is, I think, interesting in let's say, the connection between ideas and, of course, knowledge in the dynamics of the firm. Next. So, of course, if you go along this vision about ideas, you need to bring together formal and informal in the firm. And as managers, you have a lot of activities to develop to be able to connect the creative ideas with the innovative ideas. I will not insist on this, but let's say the manager is becoming someone which mostly enact rather than impose in this vision of the firm. Next. Of course, there is on the side of communities, because we're speaking about connection between formal and informal, on the side of communities, the importance of acting for the firms. For instance, dual membership. A lot of we did a lot of interviews in Ubisoft, and most of the employees, let's say, for instance, game designers, they said we have one foot in our community and one foot in Ubisoft. And for instance, what is very important, before COVID, they used to every night cook together, dine together to prepare the next ideas for video games and so on. And say, you know, what is remarkable at this time with Ubisoft, when we go to Ubisoft the morning after with our ideas, the boss listens to us. And so we are so proud to express the ideas and so on. And then this gives you a lot of new activities, new development, and new dynamics. This dual membership is not always obtained in many firms, but when it works, it works, I think, brilliantly. I should not say that, but today, Ubisoft, then there is COVID, people did not meet anymore, the communities. COVID, I will not say killed Ubisoft, but killed the spirit of what was brilliant in these companies. Next. Last, but maybe not least, if we go along with this notion of ideas, is even the notion of firms view from the legal aspect could change. And the firm could be a mission-oriented firm. In France, we have the Loi Pacte that changed the definition of the company. And in the definition of the company, you can, in the raison d'être of the company, cite principles that say that the firm is not only there to make profit, but also to take care about environmental problems and solutions, and take care of the need of stakeholders. And so even in the law, there are today some huge changes that are at stake. In France, École des Mines, Armand, Actuel, and all his team with Blanche Crestin here are heavily working on that. And I think this is also the proof that something very strong is coming. So again,
right. Maybe sorry to interrupt you, but there's been a lot of questions for the chat. Just a clarification on this. There was a lot of question trying to understand what's the difference between a firm, a company, an organization. So could you try to clarify a little bit what a firm is compared to a company or an organization?
Okay, so let's say, again, the firm is defined by the characteristic I tried to implement in the first slide. The characteristic as the firm, or maybe we can go the slide after, just next. Yeah, the firm is really characterized by a boundary, a mode of international organization, internal organization, incentive and coordination mechanism, by the formation of the firms and so on. This is a firm. I think, for instance, Ubisoft Montreal, this main studio in the world, Ubisoft Montreal is a firm. Is a firm with some boundaries, some international organization. So now Ubisoft World is a company. Is a company constituted of different firms. And in fact, these different firms in Ubisoft, I take the example of Ubisoft, has different culture, mode of organizations, and so on. So you have an organization, which is, I think, Ubisoft, but you have firms. And I think what is important is what is going on in the firm, in what I try to explain about ideas. Of course, maybe Ubisoft is taking care about ideas at the global levels and so on. But what I tried to explain today was really focus on the firm with boundary, coordination mechanism, which is absolutely specific to, in that case, for instance, Ubisoft Montreal, incentive mechanism, totally specific to the firm. So it's a kind of unity of characteristic that is important. Is that clear? Yeah, sorry for, I saw some question, but I had no time to read the question. So maybe now we can spend time to the question.
Yes, thank you so much, Patrick. Yes, and I invite really I mean, I've seen also the question going back and forth. I really invite whoever wants to ask a question to Patrick to clarification, just to take the mic and ask from directly a question to Patrick. So please don't hesitate to raise your hand and or even just speak out, and we'll let me just see if I can see everyone, because I'm not seeing everyone. Okay, any question to get started?
Hi.
Yeah, Brett, please.
So we kind of started hitting this in the chat, so I'll bring it back to my original question, which is this research designed to help make the case for return to work, or to make the case for remote work, or is it designed to say, in either case, here's what you're thinking about?
I'm very sorry, I did not hear.
Your voice. Let me maybe just clarify. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You hear me now?
Not. So the question, let me try to summarize, Brett, and you correct me if I'm wrong. So the idea was, Brett is asking if this paper to try to convince people or encourage people to go back to work and instead of working remotely, or is it something a bit separate and not related?
It's a very good question. Yeah, I'm convinced in the world of ideas that you let's say in-person exchanges is key. In-person exchanges is key. I'm totally convinced. Again, I'm sorry. I hope there is no one from Ubisoft here, but they know I can speak freely. I work so much on this company. Ubisoft was, to me, the best managed company in the world in let's say the beginning of the century. Fantastic, just so brilliant, and you see the result. Now came COVID, and came also maybe AI and so on. Came COVID and AI. This kills the culture of this company. Why? Because people do not meet. They stay home. There is a marvelous building where people used to meet. Le Terrasse d'Ubisoft was at 5 o'clock. They have tea and they create together, and they have a theater in-house to try to mimic the video games. And even the CEO used to mimic and so on. There was a culture of creativity, which is of expressing ideas quickly, fast, and so on. Now everyone is home, and not only everyone is home, but some of them are replaced by robots and AI. And you can see the result. The result is, well, I shouldn't say that, but the result is the lack of creative video games, the downsize of the companies, and so on. The result is a result of a company which is no more able to build on ideas, to exchange permanently. So I know not all the companies are like this, because not the company are so creative. But if you have a creative company where ideas is important, and the sequence of ideas, and you need to meet. If you don't meet, you killed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay. And just a comment of Louis Pierre, we say, will AI kill ideas?
True. It's a question for you, because AI is everywhere. There are more and more, so will kill the notion of this idea for the firm. If too many AI, which is recycling old ideas instead of generating new one, people depend more and more, or will depend more and more on what AI will produce. Will it kill idea generations, hence innovation, and so on and so forth?
Yes, to some extent. I think, of course, there are a lot of interesting things in AI, of course. I think the way, but what AI, I think, enforce, I think on the positive side of AI, is to force, let's say, organizations to rethink the way they work together. I don't know, I'm working now with the hospital of Montreal about the use of AI in the hospital. And of course, it's a mess. It's a mess because now you can use AI, for instance, for imagery, radioscopies, and so on, which can be used by nurses. You don't need any more. You don't need any more, for instance, radiologists and so on in some instances. But in fact, when you go in depth, they did not fire the radiologists. The radiologists are doing things more sophisticated and try now to rework with nurses and surgeons to improve in many domains. So there is a kind of, I try to express this, of AI, the positive side of AI is to reshuffle the commons ground of cooperation between different métiers, professions, and this is interesting. And for instance, just to give you this example, the director of OpenAI said there would be no more radiologists in the world in 2030. He just said, I was totally wrong. There are more radiologists than ever. They change the way of doing. So I think this recreation of the common grounds is something which is interesting with AI. But in some companies, for instance, like Ubisoft, they did not pay attention to this recreation. And so it's a problem of knowledge management, which is interesting.
Glenroy, you want to ask a question?
Definitely. Good morning to each and everyone. I am Glenroy London, hailing from Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have an invention of the 20th century, which is steel band, right? And our people have not traditionally learned. Are you hearing me? Pachan?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Yes, yes, we can hear you.
So Trinidad and Tobagoans have not formally learned music in schools, but yet still we play quality music on pans. Now, the Japanese have been able to come to Trinidad, participate in our carnivals, and they are using now that tacit knowledge. They've been able to capture the tacit knowledge, and they are mass producing steel bands for around the world. So it is salient to note that how Trinidad and Tobago citizens did not have formal music training and perform and play the most incredible music on pan. And they play Beethoven, classical, to calypsos, to reggae, everything. So it goes to show how tacit knowledge the Japanese have demonstrated can be massively reproduced. So there is something inherent in the human being that can recreate tacit knowledge. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have not really optimized the playing of pan by engaging tacit knowledge. So there is something to be learned from how the Japanese would have been able to do it, and how we are now in Trinidad and Tobago are able to transfer that tacit knowledge. So what are your thoughts on this? How is that possible? And what is the path forward?
Yeah, I absolutely agree that what is, for example, at stake with AI is a huge opportunity to rebuild tacit knowledge, a new form of tacit knowledge, with a lot of importance of strategy in society. I think, yes, you're absolutely right. I think the opportunity to rebuild today tacit knowledge when some form of codified knowledge is attained is very important. You know, I think a lot of scholars in the 80s, for instance, Nobel Prizes and so on, they said with digitalization of society, there would be no more jobs, there would be no more. This is an old story, you know, from a lot of people. They just forgot something, is you can digitalize and digitalize. There would always be the reformation of tacit knowledge. This is exactly what I try to explain with the hospital. In the hospitals, they're trying to rebuild totally tacit knowledge from the. So you're right. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much for that very informed response.
Thank you, Glenroy.
Path forward. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Patrick? I know we are running out of time. Just maybe a last quick questions. So, I mean, you presented, you gave us a very good comprehensive history of the evolution of different theories of the firm. And so the version you're proposing, is it, if you want another layer to it, because you did mention about the importance of knowledge and everything that was done before. So is it just another layer, I would say, on top of the cake, or you believe we need to destroy the cake and focus mainly on the idea? So
no, it's just another layer. It's just to it's just to add to the classical management of knowledge something which is the intention of action. Okay, it's good accumulating knowledge. It's good to manage knowledge, but what is your intention of action? Do you want to act, I don't know, on sustainability? Do you want to act on inclusion? Do you want to act, what is your intention of action? And I think just to add to this very, very solid foundation of the management of knowledge, just to add something which is the intention of action of what you're doing this. It's amazing because what you said is the articles that we publish went through a lot of course, submission, resubmission, and so on, as usual. And exactly one of the referees said, you are going to destroy the theory of, no, I don't, no, I don't want to destroy the theory of knowledge. I just want to add something, which is not only me, it's the Nobel Prizes and so on. They said, idea is important, that's it, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for this wonderful presentation. And we will share the recording and the PDF version of the slides. The paper also is available for free. It's in open source, and we'll share the link so everyone can read the full paper. And thank you all for joining today. We had a great attendance, and we'll keep you updated on what's coming next. Moria, any last word or anything you wanna add? You're muted, Moria.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I just want to add that we have a shared roundtable or shared table next month, 4 weeks from now. So please follow our publications and join us. We are one community, one loving community, and one great community. And together we can do much more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moria. Merci beaucoup, Patrick. Et bonne journée and good luck with the snow. Okay, see you all very much.
Good ideas. Bye. Merci.